So last night, I got back from spending a couple days in Tampa. I went to the New Discourses workshop with James Lindsay. I think it was the very first in-person event that they had. James basically did like a day and a half all about the evolution of critical race theory, what it is, what you need to know about it, where it comes from, the ideologies informing it. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. I cannot say enough good things about this workshop. He has gotten it down to the point where he's able to succinctly explain it, give you source material, where it's coming from, and tell you what is really going on with all of this, in that critical race theory is about destabilizing our system to bring about a cultural revolution. That's what it is at the end of the day, folks. That's what we're dealing with. Now, listen, I always think that Republicans take it a little bit too far when they say Marxism, socialism, communism. I think a lot of times they do it in really cheesy ways that frankly discredits their argument. But in this case, that is actually what's going on. And James Lindsay has been able to put together a very compelling case that is exactly what's going on. He's gotten very good about talking about it. I strongly recommend everyone get the videos when they come out. I know they recorded the whole thing. Watch it for yourself. Attend one of their in-person workshops. Even I, as someone who knows a lot about critical race theory, there's so much more you can learn, and James Lindsay is the absolute king of explaining the history and the evolution of all of this. But I bring that up because on my way back last night, I was made aware of this letter that is critical race theory in practice. Critical race theory in practice. You know, a lot of the lefties have been like, they're not teaching critical race theories in school. Well, no. They're practicing critical race theory in school. They're actually implementing it in the real world. And this is a real letter. This is a real letter that was distributed to parents in the greater Dallas area from a group called Dallas Justice. Let's just take a look. We are writing to you because we understand you are white and live within the Highland Park Independent School District, thus benefit from enormous privilege taken at the expense of communities of color. You live in the whitest and wealthiest neighborhood in Dallas, whether you know it or not. You earned or inherited your money through oppressing people of color. However, it is also our understanding that you are a Democrat and supporter of the Black Lives Matter movement, which makes you one of our white allies and puts you in a position to help correct these racial injustices. We need you to step up and back up your words with action and truly sacrifice to make our segregated city more just. Now, if this types of language sounds familiar, that they're now going after white progressives, you may have heard of Robin DiAngelo's new book, Nice Racism: How Progressive White People Perpetuate Racial Harm. I'm reading this book right now. I'm documenting it on my Twitter. I've had some other stuff going on in the last couple weeks, so I haven't made a lot of progress in it, but we will be returning to it probably this week sometime. But basically, this is all of the progressives basically focusing all their attention on really making sure they're demeaning the white allies among them to get them to give up even more and more and more and more and more. You know how we've always talked about how you never, ever, ever bend the knee to the woke? Because they will always come in and ask for more. It is not enough to do the one thing. You're going to have to do 15 or 17 or 27 other things on top of that one thing. And this is exactly what that letter is. This letter is specifically targeted to people who have supported this organization before, people who have Black Lives Matter signs in their lawn, people who are registered Democrats, have voted the way they want them to vote, and none of it is good enough, and now they're going to make their next ask. We are asking you pledge that your children will not apply or attend any Ivy League school or U.S. News and World Report top 50 school. They're trying to tell these white progressive parents that they cannot send their children to good colleges, or to not good colleges. I don't think that colleges have to be in the like Ivy Leagues or in the top 50 school to be good colleges, but like to the most elite universities. They are trying to force their supporters to say, I will not send my children to the most elite universities. Okay, if you do not have children under 18, then we pledge to hold your white privileged friends, family, and neighbors with children to this standard. So if you don't have kids going to college, you are in charge of calling out other white progressive allies that might be thinking about sending their children to an elite university. These schools have afforded white families privilege for generations. Having your children attend these schools takes away spaces from students of color who really need the job opportunities, education, and influence that these schools provide. Now, let's just back up a second. You can go to almost any college out there and have job opportunities. You do not need to go to an elite college to have job opportunities. That is just a fallacy in and among itself. But, bigger picture here, how goddamn dare you? I'm sorry, how dare you? And because this is not just against the progressive white allies that they're trying to cajole into not sending their children to these schools. This is also basically saying people of color can't do it on their own. People of color can't do it unless the white allies lift them up and leave those spaces open, because they just couldn't be responsible for doing it without them. And that, my friends, is really GD racist. That's racist. We know that this sounds like a tough commitment to make, but it is truly disheartening to see wealthy white folks sending charitable donations, posting Black Lives Matter on social media, and putting up yard signs as if to say that minimal effort is all they are prepared to do in this fight for racial justice. The quest for racial justice requires commitment from our white allies, and we thank you in advance for your anticipated cooperation in making such a commitment. Thank you for helping it make our city more just. Sign the pledge by visiting dallasjustice.org. So I did visit dallasjustice.org, and this is real. This is why I say this is real. Take the pledge. Here's what the pledge looks like. An open letter to the wealthy white liberals of the HPISD from DJ, and I don't know what those acronyms mean, to our white allies. Talk is not enough. Commit yourself towards action and making sacrifices to correct centuries of injustice. Open up spaces for Black and Latinx communities by refusing to send your kids to Ivy League and U.S. News and World Report top 50 schools, and encourage friends, neighbors, and family members to do the same. Imagine if those hundreds of thousands of spots at those institutions were occupied only by marginalized communities. Oh, so now we're saying that we want to make the elite colleges in this country completely segregated and devoid of all white people at all as a way to make up for history. Imagine the opportunities we can achieve true equity within our lifetimes, but only if white folks are willing to sacrifice their privileges. They're basically saying we want to send our kids to completely segregated universities, no white people allowed. The Dallas Justice Now College Pledge. As a white person with privilege, both from my whiteness and my neighborhood, I recognize the need to make sacrifices for the purpose of correcting hundreds of years of murder, slavery, discrimination, and lack of educational and economic opportunities perpetuated upon people of color. They're acting like a Black person has never gone to Harvard. I understand that access to top schools is a key component in economic and social advancement. I don't recognize that. Side note, stop accepting the basis of their argument. I do not recognize that access to top universities is a key component of economic and social advancement. There are a lot of people that do very well financially in this country that have never gone to an elite university, never dreamt of going to an elite university, never even thought of sending their kids to an elite university. So I reject the premise of that argument. But I reject the premise of this entire thing in the first place. So, I'm sure that's quite a shocker. Therefore, I commit that my children will not apply to or attend any Ivy League school or U.S. News and World Report top 50 school, so that the position at that school is available for people of color to help correct historical wrongs. If I do not have children under 18, then I will commit to encouraging my white privileged friends, neighbors, and family members with children to sign the pledge and hold them accountable to doing so. And then here's the pledge. And I'm going to sign it. Right now. Carlin Borisenko, activelyunwoke@gmail.com, which is an address that you can always send whistleblower documents to if you would like to. Will you take the college pledge? And your options are, I am a racist hypocrite, or I agree not to send my children to an elite university. I think that we should all take the pledge, and we should all sign up as a racist hypocrite. Boom. And I guess at some point they're anticipating that oh, here it is. Please note that Dallas Justice Now will be publicly announcing the names of those who have and have not signed the pledge. So they're going to make it public. Do it, man. I think that we should put a mass of racial hypocrites on. Go to DallasJusticeNow.org and sign the pledge and say that you are a racist hypocrite because you will send your children to whatever school that they want to go to and can get into based on their individual hard work and merit. All right, guys, I just had to show you this one. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy thing. But if you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. I post content almost every single day of the week about news, politics, culture, really heavy emphasis on critical race theory, fighting back against the woke. So subscribe, turn on those notifications, leave a comment, share it out with your friends and family, and most importantly now, sign that dang pledge. Sign that dang pledge so that they get a long, 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 long list of racist hypocrites and, you know, only maybe a onesie or twosie of uber guilty white liberal parents that have agreed to allow a non-profit organization of some sort to dictate where their children go to college. That's all I've got for right now. I'll see you soon.